Hey, you're late again, I said, glancing at the clock as she slipped into the kitchen, her heels clicking against the floor. I wasn't late. Traffic was insane, she replied, tossing her bag on the counter. She smiled, the kind of smile that made me forget the world outside our apartment. Traffic at 7:30? Really, I teased, but there was no bite behind my words. I loved teasing her. Loved seeing her laugh. She laughed, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. Don't start. You know I leave work late sometimes? I know, I said, though a tiny part of me felt that tug of doubt. But it was easy to ignore. She always had a reason, always a way to make me believe her. Mark called me that evening. Dude, are you sure she's working that late again? His voice had that tone, the one that said he suspected more than he let on. I told you. She works long hours sometimes. You're overthinking it. I ran my fingers through my hair, trying to sound confident. But hearing his concern made a small knot twist in my chest. Just saying, man. I've noticed she's always so evasive with her phone. She's not evasive. She's busy. You don't get it. I wanted to hang up, but I didn't. I knew Mark cared. Even if I didn't want to hear it. Later that night, we sat on the couch, her head on my shoulder. Scrolling through our phones silently. Do you want some wine? I asked. Sure, she said, but just a glass. Just a glass, I repeated, pouring 2 glasses. She took hers without a word, her fingers brushing mine. I felt warmth spread through me, warmth and a trust so deep, I didn't even question it. Remember last weekend? The little cafe downtown? I asked, how could I forget? She replied, smiling. The one where we stayed for hours, just talking. Yeah, I said, sipping my wine. It felt perfect, like we were the only people in the world. She leaned closer. We are in our own way. Her words made my chest tighten with happiness. I laughed softly, brushing her hair behind her ear again. I don't know what I did to deserve you. You deserve me, she teased, her eyes glinting. Don't sell yourself short. The phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, a flicker of something in her eyes. Oh, it's work. I need to reply. Just a second. I nodded, but the way she muttered, just a second, felt heavier than it should. I shook it off. It was nothing. I always told myself it was nothing. Later, Mark texted again. Keep your eyes open, man. I ignored it. I didn't want to see the cracks he was seeing. She sat next to me, leaning in, asking me about my day. I told her everything, the meeting at work, the stupid argument with my boss, even the way Mark had worried me with his suspicions. You worry too much, she said, nudging me. I promise, I'm honest with you. I know, I said, kissing her forehead. The knot in my chest eased. Her laugh filled the room. Everything felt right. Perfect even. Later that night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling. Her breathing was steady beside me, and I thought about Mark's warning again. But I told myself it was just paranoia. She loved me. I loved her. That was all that mattered. And for the first time in that quiet moment, I truly believed we had a life built on trust, on laughter, and on the little routines that made every day feel like a perfect dream. Hey, you said you'd be home by 7, I said, watching her slide in, her coat still damp from the rain. I know, she said, shrugging, but the client meeting ran over. You know how it gets. I hesitated. Since when do client meetings run over this often? She laughed, brushing off my concern. Since I've been swamped, I guess. You worry too much. I worry because I care, I said quietly, feeling that familiar twist in my chest. She smiled, soft, disarming. I know. Don't overthink it. Sit down. I'll grab us some tea. I nodded, but my eyes followed her. The way she fumbled with her phone on the counter didn't feel right. Who's texting you at this hour? Oh, just a coworker asking about a report, she said, not looking up. Nothing important. I murmured. That tiny hesitation just a second too long made my stomach tighten. Later, Mark called. Man, did I tell you something feels off? She's always busy, always texting, always late. I know, I said, frowning, But she tells me the truth, Mark. She wouldn't lie to me. Wouldn't she? He asked, voice low. You sure? I'm sure, I replied, though my voice sounded weaker than I intended. I ended the call but couldn't shake his words at dinner. She asked, You're quiet tonight? Something on your mind? I feel like something's different, I said. You've been busy a lot lately. More than usual, she laughed, pouring wine. I told you, work's crazy. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. I'm not, I said, forcing a smile, but inside, a nagging unease lingered. When she excused herself to take a call, I noticed the way her phone lit up, and her face changed for just a second. I told myself I was imagining things, but then came small details. The sudden trips to the office, the long messages she hid from view, the laughter she muffled when answering texts. My intuition kept gnawing at me. Everything okay? She asked, returning to the table. Yes. Just tired, I guess, I said. I didn't want to accuse her without proof. My mind raced between trust and suspicion. Do you want to watch a movie? She asked, sitting close. Her hand brushed mine, and I felt a pang of relief. For a moment, I let myself believe everything was normal, but later, lying on the couch, I caught a glimpse of her phone buzzing on the coffee table. She glanced at it quickly, then slid it face down. My heart tightened. I thought of Mark again. Keep your eyes open, he'd said. I told myself I was overthinking, but the feeling wouldn't leave. Hey, you okay? She asked, noticing my quiet stare. I'm fine, I said, forcing a laugh. But I wasn't fine. The little inconsistencies in her stories, the secretive glances, the unexplained absences, they all piled up, and I felt my mind split between love and doubt. She smiled, leaning on my shoulder. You worry too much. Just trust me, okay? I wanted to. I wanted to close my eyes and believe her words. But the strange feeling inside me wouldn't go away. I knew I would start watching, noticing, questioning every small detail from now on. I was scrolling through my phone when a notification popped up from a social media app I didn't usually check. That's strange, I muttered. I tapped it, thinking it might be a work update. But what I saw made my stomach drop. Her name was tagged in a photo with another man. Laughing, arms around each other, the caption reading, Great night. No, this can't be real, I whispered, my hands trembling. I called Mark immediately. Mark, you won't believe this. What? What happened? He asked, tone sharp. It's her. She's with someone else, I stammered. Are you serious? His voice cracked a little. Send it to me. I hesitated. My finger hovered over the screen. I can't. I don't want to believe it. Dude, just send it. You need proof for yourself, he said firmly. I finally sent the screenshot. See, I don't know what to think. That's betrayal, man. You need to confront her now. I can't. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they're just friends, or friends don't take pictures like that. Come on, wake up. I pressed the phone to my chest, feeling my heart pound. I trusted her. I really trusted her. Mark's voice softened. I know. That's why it hurts. But you need to face this before it eats you alive. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. My mind replayed her words, her smiles, her excuses for staying late at work, the late nights, the secretive texts. All the little inconsistencies, they weren't coincidences. The door clicked, and she came in. Hey, everything okay? She asked, smiling as if nothing had changed. Yeah, fine, I said, forcing a laugh, trying to steady my voice. Just tired from work, really? She asked, tilting her head. You seem off. I'm fine, I said again. But inside I was shaking. My chest felt tight, my hands cold. Later in the kitchen, I caught sight of her phone buzzing on the counter. She glanced at it quickly, slipping it into her pocket. My stomach twisted. I muttered under my breath. I can't believe this. I remembered Mark's words. You need proof. Don't just accuse her blindly, I told myself. But the photo burned in my mind. I couldn't ignore it. When she asked about my sudden silence, I tried to distract myself. Want some tea? Sure, she said. But even as I poured, I noticed the way her fingers lingered on her phone before she set it down that night. I couldn't sleep. I kept imagining her laughter in that photo, her arms around him, her smile, my trust shattered like glass. I debated confronting her immediately or waiting for more evidence. The uncertainty was suffocating. Maybe I'm overreacting, I whispered to the dark room. Maybe I'm imagining things. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. I knew the feeling in my gut. The doubt I'd tried to ignore it was real. I texted Mark, I need to talk. Now, he replied almost immediately. I'm here. Don't wait. When he arrived, I barely spoke. He saw my phone screen open, the photo still glowing. I knew it, he said softly, shaking his head. She's been lying. You can't let this slide. I don't know what to do, I admitted, tears stinging my eyes. I loved her. I don't know how I can face her. Confront her, Mark said firmly. You deserve the truth, no matter how much it hurts. You can't let her control this. I nodded slowly, heart heavy. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to lose myself in anger before I even know everything. Mark placed a hand on my shoulder. You won't. Just be honest with yourself. That's all that matters. I looked at the photo one last time before locking my phone. My chest tightened and I whispered, I trusted you. I really trusted you. And for the first time, I realized that the life I thought I had, my perfect routine, my safe world, was gone. You need to tell me the truth, I said, voice trembling. Standing in the living room as she set her bag down, I don't know what you mean, she said, tilting her head, trying to smile. Don't lie to me, I snapped. I saw the photo. I know about him. Who is he? Her eyes widened. Photo. What photo? The one on your social media? The one where you're laughing with him, holding him close. Don't try to deny it. My chest heaved, anger and hurt colliding. I don't know what you're talking about, she stammered, backing away slightly. I grabbed her arm. Stop. Just stop. Don't lie to me. I trusted you. I loved you. And you've been lying? Her eyes filled with tears. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I laughed bitterly. Holding him like that. Smiling at him like I'm nothing. How is that not what it looks like? She shook her head. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't think you'd find out. Didn't think I'd find out. I shouted, pacing. Do you know what it feels like to watch someone you love, the person you built your life around, betray you? To see it right in front of your eyes and have no warning? Her hand went to her mouth. I didn't want to ruin us. I thought it wouldn't matter if it never came up. I laughed, a sound harsh and broken. Wouldn't it matter? My life, our life, wouldn't matter? I sank onto the couch, head in my hands. All those late nights, all the excuses, all the little lies you told, I believed them. I believed you. She sat beside me, tears streaming. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for it to get this far. I love you. I love you. You love me. I looked at her, disbelief cutting deeper than anything else. Do you even know what love is? Love doesn't hide. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't sneak around behind someone's back. Shh. She grabbed my hand. Please, please don't hate me. I can fix this. I'll stop seeing him. I promise. I swear. Fix this. I pulled my hand away. Do you know how easy it is to say that now? After the photo, after everything I've discovered, I was confused. I made a mistake. She cried, her shoulders shaking. A mistake. I shouted, standing again. A mistake? You think months of betrayal, lying about work, sneaking around, pretending everything was perfect is just a mistake. She dropped her gaze, quiet now. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't think it would hurt you like this. I felt my chest tighten, tears burning. You already lost me. You've lost everything I thought we had. My trust, my heart, everything. You didn't just hurt me, you humiliated me. You made me look like a fool. I'm sorry, she whispered. I really am. Sorry, I scoffed. Sorry doesn't cut it. Sorry doesn't fix months of lies. Sorry doesn't erase the way you looked at him, the way you held him, the way you pretended I was nothing. Her tears fell freely now. I wanted to tell you so many times. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. I sank back into the couch, head spinning. My heart ached, my chest burned. You lost me the moment you decided to lie. The moment you chose him over me, the life I imagined gone, all the trust, all the love destroyed. She reached for me again, but I shook my head. Dawn T, touch me. I can't even look at you without feeling every lie you told, every secret you kept. Silence fell between us. Her sobs filled the room. I stared at the wall, numb, realizing the life I thought was real, the perfect routine. The safety, the laughter was gone, and in that moment, I understood that nothing would ever be the same again. I think I need to stay somewhere else for a while, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Mark frowned, his eyes serious. You sure? You don't want to just stay and talk it out? No, I said firmly, though my chest ached. I can't be around her right now. Not until I figure things out. You need space, he said, nodding. I get it. My place. You can crash there as long as you need. Thanks, I muttered, sliding into the passenger seat as he started the car. The city lights blurred past. I couldn't stop thinking about her smile, her laughter, every little lie that had built up over months. Do you want to talk about it? Mark asked quietly. I don't even know where to start, I admitted. I keep remembering the small things. How she'd forget to tell me she was going out. How she'd laugh at texts I wasn't supposed to see. How she always found excuses for being late. See, Mark said softly. You noticed them, but you ignored them. You trusted her? That's not your fault. I trusted her, I said, shaking my head. And now, I don't know who I am without that trust. Mark reached over and squeezed my shoulder. You're the same person, man. Just someone who knows now. Someone stronger? I don't feel strong, I muttered, staring out the window. I feel stupid, naive, humiliated. You're not stupid. You're human, he said. And you have a choice now. Stew in anger or start rebuilding. I don't even know if I want to rebuild, I said. I keep replaying moments, trying to find signs I missed. Like that weekend she said she had to work late, but the timing was always off. Or when she laughed at texts I didn't know about. How did I miss that? You weren't blind, Mark said. You just didn't want to see. That's normal. I know, I whispered. But the memories didn't stop. I saw her hands brushing mine one night. The smile she gave me after I told her I loved her. The way she whispered, I love you too. All of it felt poison now. Like a lie wrapped in sweetness. Do you want revenge? Mark asked suddenly, his voice low. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to make her feel the pain she caused. Another part just wants to disappear, to forget she ever existed. You'll figure it out, he said. But don't make decisions in anger. That's when people regret things most. I leaned back, closing my eyes. It's hard to even think straight. I keep asking myself, was it me? Did I do something to push her away? Mark shook his head. No, you loved her. That's not a crime. She chose to betray that love. That's on her, not you. I want to believe that, I said, voice breaking. But I keep questioning myself. Every little thing I did, every word I said, was it enough? Did I miss signs? You didn't miss signs. She hid them well. You did what anyone would do. You trusted someone you loved. I took a deep breath, feeling a tiny fraction of clarity. Maybe I need to focus on myself now. Figure out who I am without her lies. Without her manipulation. Without the life I thought I had. Exactly, Mark said, nodding. You take your time, reflect, heal, and when you're ready, decide what you want next. I nodded slowly, staring out the window at the dark streets. For the first time since discovering the truth, I felt a sliver of control. I couldn't undo the betrayal, but but I could decide what comes after it. And maybe, just maybe, I could rebuild myself stronger than before. You're not going to let this break you, are you? Mark asked, as we sat at his kitchen table, cups cooling between our hands. No, I said, voice steadier than I felt. I won't be a victim. I won't sit and watch my life get stolen. How do you plan to do that? He asked, eyebrows raised. I don't know yet, I admitted. Maybe I let karma do its work. Maybe I expose everything. I want control back, one way or another. Mark leaned forward. You could use facts, not fury. Gather what you need. Don't act on emotion, or you'll regret it. I thought about that, I said. She's careless sometimes. She brags to certain friends. She leaves traces. I can let those traces speak when the time is right. Sounds like a plan, Mark said. Slow and loud. Make it obvious without looking petty. I don't want to be petty, I replied. I want justice. I want truth to matter again. You'll have people on your side if you present things calmly, he said. You don't have to humiliate her to make your point. Show the truth. Let it do the work. I can't believe I'm planning this, I murmured. It feels wrong and right at the same time. You're allowed to want answers, Mark said. You're allowed to protect yourself. That night I walked through our old apartment, touching objects like they were evidence. Her coffee mug still sat on the counter. Her jacket hung over a chair. I whispered to the empty room, You chose him. You chose lies. I choose myself now. The next morning I started making notes. Small things that had felt off. Phone calls at odd hours. I told Mark over the phone. Late work dinners that ended too quickly. She deleted messages sometimes when she thought I wasn't looking. Write them down, he said. Write names, dates, details. It will help you stay focused and sane. I did. Writing made the chaos clearer. It made patterns appear where I had only felt unease. A week later, I ran into one of her coworkers at a cafe. Hey, I said, forcing a smile. Do you have a minute? She looked surprised. Sure, everything okay? I'm trying to understand something, I said. Has she been working late a lot? Do you ever see her leave early for social things? Oh, she works a lot, the coworker said. But sometimes she has client calls that are actually dinners. She's always on her phone with someone funny. Why do you ask? My heart lurched. No reason, I lied. Just checking. After that conversation, I felt the tide shift. Small confirmations made me feel less crazy. I started to plan not out of spite, but out of clarity. You look different, Mark said when I met him. Calmer, sharper. I feel sharper, I said, not calmer. Calmer comes later. Are you going to tell her? He asked. I will, I answered, but not like before. I'll be prepared. I won't let emotions lead. I'll have the truth, and that will be enough. Promise you won't destroy yourself in the process, Mark warned. I won't, I said. I'll reclaim my life. I'll decide what happens next. He nodded slowly. Good. And when it's over, you'll be free to choose peace or revenge. Both are possible, but choose what heals you. I want peace, I admitted. But I also want her to understand what she lost. Understanding comes with truth, Mark said. Let truth do the heavy lifting. I left his apartment feeling the first real flicker of power since the betrayal. It wasn't violence or spectacle. It was a quiet, slow shift. I would gather facts, confront with evidence, and then step back. I would let the truth break the illusion. Alone in my car, I whispered, This is mine again. The sentence felt small and enormous at once. I had traded despair for a plan, grief for a shape. The road ahead was unclear, but for the first time in months, I felt like I could walk it. I would not be broken. I would be wiser and move forward soon. I watched from a distance as she laughed with her friends at that cafe, the same one we used to frequent. But now, it felt foreign, like watching someone else's life play out. Did you hear about her? One of her friends whispered. No. What happened? Another asked. She's been not honest with everyone, the first friend said. Some things are coming out, and people are noticing. I sipped my coffee quietly, letting the words settle. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second, and I felt a spark of satisfaction. Pain still lingered, but this tiny flicker of justice warmed me. Later, I saw him, her lover. He was pacing outside, phone pressed to his ear. Wait, I don't understand. Are you telling me she didn't tell the truth about last week? She said she was at a meeting. I just found out. His voice cracked. I couldn't hear more, but I imagined his confusion, his doubt, his rising suspicion. Inside, she sat alone for a moment, scrolling her phone, realizing she had no control anymore. I didn't approach. I didn't need to. I just observed. Are you okay? I muttered to myself, more than to anyone. I will be, I whispered. I'm watching, not hurting. Let the truth do the work. I thought back to the months of deception, the lies so carefully layered, I almost doubted my own senses. And now, the pieces were collapsing on their own. A friend of hers passed by and said, "Hey, I saw that post you tried to delete. People are talking. Are you serious?" Her hand went to her mouth. I can explain. You better, the friend said, voice sharp, because people are noticing. I felt a mix of satisfaction and lingering hurt. I shouldn't enjoy this, I told myself. But the way the universe was correcting her recklessness, it was almost comforting. Later, I texted Mark. She's slipping. Finally, his reply came quickly. I'm proud of you. Stay calm. Don't intervene yet. I nodded, staring at my phone. The urge to call her, to confront her, surged, but I resisted. Let her unravel in her own time. I had control now. I had clarity. Walking past the cafe later, I overheard another snippet. I can't believe she lied all this time, someone said. And with him, how could she? I paused, letting the words sink in. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her lover had begun doubting her, her friends had begun questioning her, and yet she still didn't see the full picture. I thought about morality. Was it wrong to feel this way? To feel satisfaction while still hurting? Maybe it's human, I whispered. Maybe justice can coexist with pain. A message popped up from her lover. We need to talk now. I smiled faintly. The seeds of doubt had been planted and they were growing. Inside, she scrolled frantically. Realizing the cracks forming around her carefully built facade, I imagined the panic in her chest, the fear in her voice when he confronted her. I felt conflicted. I shouldn't feel joy, I said aloud, voice quiet, almost ashamed. I'm still hurt. I still miss what we had, but I couldn't ignore the tiny thrill of justice. She had chosen lies over honesty, and now those choices were coming home. Mark called. You okay? I am, I said, though the truth was more complicated. Watching her unravel, it's strange. Part relief, part sorrow. Good, he said. You're strong enough to observe without letting it consume you. That's power. I leaned back, folding my arms. I have power now. I have patience. I have truth. And that's enough. Her phone buzzed again. She froze mid-scroll. I imagined her panic, her realization that nothing could hide her mistakes anymore. I whispered to the empty street. Let the consequences find you. Let karma do its work. For the first time, I felt a sense of control, a quiet empowerment that came not from anger, but from patience, observation, and the knowledge that justice, slow, inevitable, and satisfying, was unfolding exactly as it should. I saw her for the first time since the unraveling at the office. She was standing by the entrance, alone, coat wrapped tightly around her, eyes scanning the crowd as if seeking support that wasn't there. Hey, a former colleague called out, tone sharp. Do you have a minute? She froze, then forced a small smile. Of course. I watched from a distance as the conversation unfolded. People are talking, you know, the colleague said. About the lies. About your choices. Are you sure this is how you want to handle it? I didn't mean... She started, voice cracking. You didn't mean to hurt anyone? The colleague interrupted. Because it feels like you did. And now trust is gone. People don't know how to treat you anymore. She nodded, swallowing hard. I understand. I felt a pang, not of anger, but of sorrow. This wasn't just humiliation. This was isolation. She had chosen deception, and now she was alone. Later, I heard her on the phone, voice trembling. I know I messed up. I didn't think it would end like this. I thought I could, fix things. Fix things, a friend asked over the line. After everything? Do you realize how people see you now? How they've stopped trusting you? I do, she whispered. I see it now. I never realized until it was too late. I remained in the shadows, silent, observing. Relief coursed through me, a quiet warmth that didn't erase the lingering hurt. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced down, pale. Yes, I'll meet tomorrow. Yes, I understand. She ended the call, shivering slightly. I remembered the weeks I had spent in disbelief, the nights questioning myself, the days of anger and planning. And now, seeing her reduced to this powerless, isolated, confronted with her own actions, I felt a complicated mix of satisfaction and sorrow. She approached a group of friends cautiously. I want to apologize, she said, voice low. A friend crossed her arms. It's a bit late, isn't it? You've hurt a lot of people, including me. Trust isn't something you get back quickly. I know, she whispered. I didn't think. I thought I could keep everything under control. Control, the friend said, voice incredulous. You lost it the moment you lied. Every choice, every little deceit, it's all catching up with you. Her shoulders slumped. I realize that now. I'm sorry, truly. I turned away, walking slowly. The relief I felt wasn't triumph. It was the release from the constant tension I had carried. I no longer needed to plot or watch with expectation. The consequences were happening naturally. Later that evening, I thought about her isolation, the empty spaces she had created around herself. Social circles had thinned, professional credibility had weakened, and personal connections were strained. I remembered the woman I once loved and compared her to the reality before me, someone stripped of pretenses. Facing the raw weight of choices, Mark called. You okay? I am, I said, watching her face everything it's strange. There's relief, yes, but also a sadness I didn't expect. That's normal, he said. You're human. You feel justice and empathy at the same time. That's what makes you stronger, not weaker. I still feel pain, I admitted. Not anger anymore, but loss. The life I thought we had gone forever, you'll heal, Mark said. And seeing reality clearly is part of that. You've regained control, and you've done it without sinking into bitterness. I nodded, staring out the window. The city lights reflected the quiet night. Her world had fallen apart, piece by piece. And I felt free in ways I couldn't before. And yet I still carried the memory of laughter, smiles, and trust that had been genuine at moments. That lingering pain reminded me that some wounds don't vanish, even when justice is served. I whispered to myself softly, almost a vow. I am free, and I will move forward. The fall had happened, consequences delivered. I was left with clarity, control, and the first true sense of peace in months. I can't believe you got that promotion, Mark said, clapping me on the back. I know, I said, smiling genuinely for the first time in months. It's crazy how things turn around. You deserve it, he said. You worked hard, stayed focused. All that pain didn't break you, it made you stronger. It nodded. Yeah, I guess it did. I spent weeks just thinking, planning, figuring out who I am without her lies in my life. And now I feel like I can breathe again. You've come a long way, Mark said, grinning. So what's next? I don't know exactly, I admitted, but I'm learning to enjoy things again. Friends, work, even small routines. I'm rebuilding myself piece by piece. Later that week, I met Emma at a cafe. I'm glad we could finally meet in person, she said, smiling warmly. I've heard about your work. People are impressed. Thanks, I said, feeling a flutter of excitement. It's nice to connect with someone supportive. Honestly, I needed that. You deserve it, she said. After everything you went through? Betrayal like that changes you. But it doesn't have to define you. I know, I said, sipping my coffee. I've been reflecting a lot. I realized how important it is to focus on what I can control: my career, my friendships, my mental health. And also to learn from mistakes, like trusting blindly. Emma nodded. It takes courage to rebuild after someone breaks your trust. You're doing the hard work. I've started journaling, meditating, even small things like going for walks or cooking again, I admitted. It feels like reclaiming parts of myself I forgot existed. That's amazing, she said. Healing is gradual, but each step counts. You're right, I said, thinking of the months I had spent in despair. I used to wonder if I'd ever feel normal again, if I'd ever trust or laugh without remembering the lies. But now I'm slowly learning too. At work, my mentor, Mr. Carter, pulled me aside. I've noticed your focus and resilience, he said. Most people crumble after personal crises. You're handling it with professionalism and clarity. Keep going. Opportunities are coming your way. Thank you, I said, feeling a sense of pride and gratitude. I've realized I can't control everything, but I can control how I respond. Mark called later that evening. How's the rebuilding going? He asked. Better than expected, I said. I feel like I'm reclaiming my life. Old friendships are strengthening, new ones are forming. I even reconnected with a few colleagues I admired, but never got close to. And I've started planning small personal projects. That's great, he said. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. That's huge. I smiled, thinking about how much I'd grown. It is. And I'm learning to forgive myself for trusting someone who didn't deserve it. I can't change the past, but I can shape the future, Emma texted later. Let's meet this weekend for a project idea. I felt a spark of excitement, the kind I hadn't felt in months. I whispered to myself softly, I am rebuilding. I am stronger. I am me again. The pain of betrayal still lingered, but it was no longer a cage. It was a lesson, a memory, a reminder of resilience. I realized I could feel hurt and hope at the same time, and with every step forward, I reclaimed a little more of myself, my confidence, my trust in others, my ability to dream. Life was opening new doors, and for the first time in a long time, I was ready to walk through them. I stood outside the cafe watching her leave, head bowed, shoulders tense. She didn't see me, didn't know I was there, and I realized for the first time in months, it didn't matter. She's finally facing it all, I whispered to myself. Mark beside me nodded. It's strange, isn't it? Watching karma play out without touching it yourself? Strange? Yes, I admitted. I used to want confrontation, proof, revenge. But now I just feel free. Free from anger, free from pain, free from her. You've changed, Mark said. Stronger, calmer, wiser. I hope so, I said, taking a deep breath. I spent so long feeling hurt, wondering if I'd ever trust again, if I'd ever believe in myself. But now, I see that I can. Later, I met Emma at a park bench. You look lighter, she said, smiling. I feel lighter, I replied. All the weight of betrayal, lies, and despair, I've let it go, piece by piece. That's amazing, she said. So what's next? I don't know exactly, I admitted. But I'm focusing on myself, my career, my friends, the things I used to take for granted. And maybe I'm ready to start something new. Emma nodded. You deserve that. And you're ready. You've healed, learned, and reclaimed your life. At work, Mr. Carter called me into his office. I've been noticing your growth, he said. Your focus, your composure, the way you handle challenges, you've come a long way. Thank you, I said. It wasn't easy, but I've learned a lot about patience, trust, and resilience. And most importantly, I've learned to value myself, Mark called later, curiosity in his voice. So, have you thought about forgiveness? I have, I said slowly, and I think in a way I have forgiven her. Not because what she did was okay, but because I don't want to carry bitterness. Forgiveness isn't for hurts for me. Exactly, he said. You're letting go. Not forgetting, but choosing peace. I walked home that evening thinking of the months of turmoil, the heartbreak, the planning, the slow healing. I've changed, I murmured. I'm stronger, wiser. I know my worth. I know my boundaries. A neighbor waved as I passed. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I said, smiling genuinely. Better than okay. I'm moving forward. I thought of her. The life I thought we shared. The laughter, the lies, the betrayal. I felt a twinge of sorrow, a quiet ache for what could have been. But I also felt empowerment, knowing that I had survived, learned, and grown. Life is strange, I whispered to myself. It hurts, it betrays, it challenges. But it also teaches, strengthens, and opens new doors. Emma called later. Want to meet tomorrow? I have a new idea for a project. I'd love to, I said. And I'm excited. Excited for the possibilities, for the future I'm building, Mark texted. Proud of you. You're finally free. I smiled at my phone, heart light. I am free, I whispered aloud, and I will keep moving forward. That night, I looked at the city skyline from my apartment window. Lights flickered, people moved, lives continued. And I realized I was part of it again, whole, empowered. Hopeful, the pain of the past would always be a memory, a lesson, a reminder, but it no longer defined me. I whispered softly, almost to the universe. I forgive, I heal, I live. I am ready. And for the first time in months, I truly believed it. The future was mine, unbroken, open, and full of possibilities.